Recording, share the screen. For, oh. All right, good morning, virtual Joomla group. Here are some upcoming events if you want to take care of it. If you want to look at it. Each meeting we show this so that you know it's community.joomla.org/events. And here's the user group meeting. I've been figuring out how to put that up every month, and there seems to be one coming up, Joomla Day on November 16th, so you can check this out at any time. We also have a magazine, and the October issue is out. So I don't know if you've been familiar with the magazine, but lots of great articles go into here, especially that could help members of this group who are working in Joomla building websites every day. So you should go and check that out as well. And you never know, you might be asked at some point to be interviewed for one reason or another to be in the magazine. So, okay. Stop share. There we go. Does anyone have any questions about the magazine or events?
Joomla Day USA, April 21st. Robin and I have already booked our tickets to Texas. So we'll get you more information soon. So April 21st, just block the weekend. It'll be hybrid, but maybe we'll all see each other in person.
What part of Texas?
Austin.
Okay, it's about 5 hours south of here.
You coming?
It's set with Microsoft. We got a space. So
Show of hands, how many people have gone to the virtual event? It's pretty good, right? Well, if you want to go on travel, get on a plane and come and hang out with us. We'd love to have you. I think it's going to be hybrid, right? It'll be both.
it will absolutely be both. Yes, because some
Okay.
speakers might be virtual. So yeah, we'll make sure that it'll be both, but people are welcome to come.
All right, so that event will be put up there soon, as soon as we figure
It's
out.
up there. I
Oh,
already
is it?
put up there.
Oh, okay.
Just
Nice.
not the specifics yet.
Just not the specifics. Okay, let's quickly go around the room and say hello, where you're from, and what you're doing in Joomla these days. And we'll start at the top left, Mark from France. You want to say hello? Because there's two Marks.
Mark Dechevre from Belgium.
Oh, Belgium, sorry. Another
You won't let me-
French-speaking country. We're going to go to Alan, and we'll come back to him.
Alan Badiger. I'm in Plano, Texas, just north of Dallas. I'm actually an embedded software developer, but I use Joomla for my websites, and also I maintain a number of other websites for other companies I work with. And I'm in the process of porting several websites from ancient PHP to, and I forget what the other language is, but anyway, there are some ancient websites into Joomla to update them and make them work with modern technology.
That'll keep you busy. Karen, do you want to say hello?
Yeah, hey there, I'm Karen. I live in Athens, Georgia. Just moved here in July from Colorado Springs after 27 years in Colorado Springs. And working on Joomla websites every day. Right now, my major project that I've got a design review I'm getting ready for is tomorrow, doing a Joomla form migration, which was on a fairly large site with some custom components. So
Hopefully last meeting was helpful for you. We discussed migration.
yes. Yeah, it was. Thanks.
Laura, do you want to say hello?
I'm Laura, and I work at Rutgers, and we manage websites for Joomla. And I'll talk more later.
Ellen?
Hi, I'm Ellen. I'm from Connecticut, Fairfield, Connecticut. I've been developing websites for about 20 years. And I do it mostly for small businesses and professionals. That's about it.
Mark says he's sorry he can't talk right now, but he is from Belgium, a Joomla fan, and a big fan of Joomla custom fields, and also a big fan of Joomla APIs. Oh, and soon to be guest at Tim Davis's YouTube channel. So there you go. Anna, why don't you say hello?
Yes, so I'm Anna from Sweden, Stockholm, Sweden. And I'm a graphic designer, but I do Joomla sites as well. And I have an upcoming new client with a Joomla 3 website. So I'm going to take over somebody else's mess.
Oh, I hate that.
And migrate to Joomla 4, but I'm gonna do a clean install, and I'm gonna take all the content over. I've decided to
Smart.
be safe. Yeah.
Mark, the other Mark, say hello.
Hi from Watertown, New York. Looks like we're going to get about 3 feet of snow, which is less than they're going to get in Buffalo. As far as Joomla goes, I have the stated desire to get out of managing, a number of sites, but that hasn't prevented me from figuring out the issues involved to migrate the various Joomla 3 sites to Joomla 4, see what components will work and which won't, and things like templates and so on and so forth, which is fun.
Nice.
Maybe if I was had many facing me at one time, that wouldn't be so much fun, but I hope to have some of the issues resolved soon.
Nice. And do you want to say hello?
Sure. I'm Anne from Syracuse, New York. I'm in the sweet spot. We're not going to get the snow that Watertown and Buffalo are. I've been working with Joomla for about 11 years, and tomorrow I'm having the opportunity to meet with a prospect who has only heard of WordPress and see if I can convince him that Joomla is a good option for him, especially since he doesn't want to do the work on it. He wants me to do the ongoing work. So it's like, why not? So I'll see if I'm successful.
Lisa, say hello.
Hi, everybody. Lisa Kaiser, currently in Fredericksburg, Virginia, which is just south of Washington, D.C. Though I'm originally from upstate New York. A lot of New Yorkers here. Jamestown, which is probably also going to get a lot of snow. All that lake effect snow is fun. I've been working with Joomla for about 15 years, I guess, which seems like a really long time when you 2007 doesn't seem like it should be 15 years ago, but there it is. And I've been launching a couple Joomla 4 sites, although I still haven't done any upgrades yet. I'm just nervous about doing upgrades because I've done some that went from 1.0 to 1.5 to 2.5, and I've still got like legacy issues, weird things hanging out in the site structure. So we'll see what happens when we do those migrations. Last month was helpful, but I'm still nervous about it. So happy to be here today.
Very nice. Pat, want to say hello?
Hi, everybody. I'm Pat Vanden Bosch, and I live in the middle of Tennessee with nobody around. And I've been doing Joomla since 2005, excuse me, when it actually started and came over from Mambo. And probably everybody here has a lot more experience in programming in this stuff, but I came from a banking software situation. And so I know just enough to make things break or to try to fix something and then turn to an expert and find somebody who can help me. And I get a lot out of these meetings. They just mean a lot to me because there's nobody around here who understands what I do. They all know I do great websites. And I did launch a site this week. The City of Clifton's website was launched and has had great reviews by the people on Facebook. That's the only people that have seen it so far. But I don't know what else to say, honestly.
Well,
Is that enough?
Yes, that's enough. Congratulations on your launch. That's great.
Thanks.
Stephen, do you want to say hello?
Hi, yeah, it's Steve here. I work with Laura and we've been pretty busy. We're basically charged with upgrading from Joomla 3 to Joomla 4. We have over 100 websites. But I got to work on the child template. We basically made a child of the Cassiopeia.
Mhm.
And so that was quite a enjoyable experience. And we finally got the okay from administrators and communications people to go ahead with this new child template. And of course, Laura helped out on that as well. So we're pretty happy with where we're at and looking forward to our presentation today.
Nice. Mary, are you able to say hello?
I am. I'm here in Washington State, US, and I had every plan to have my camera on today, but here I am still in my pajamas, drinking some coffee. So hopefully next time you'll be
Okay.
able to see how beautiful it is here in Washington.
Zoom meeting goals. There you go. Paul, you want to say hello?
Yeah, I'm Paul Search. I'm the owner of Three Cats Marketing. We're a digital marketing agency. And when we do websites, we definitely use Joomla unless the client absolutely insists on something else. But even if they do, we try to lead them towards Joomla. Been working with it since it was Mambo and really happy with it.
Wonderful. Olivier, say hello and tell us about your meeting at 12 o'clock.
Hey, yes. Well, the meeting is at 12:30. I'm
Oh,
pushing
12:30,
it a
yes.
bit. Yeah, so it's easier for people. The meeting is it's the jug for Joomla developers. I mean, third-party developers. But if you welcome, I can put the link in the chat, and then you're welcome to join as well, even if you don't participate in that group. I do maintain also a few websites, mostly in Europe, actually. And I create software for the platform, and I'm also the release manager this time around for Joomla 4.3, preparing the version coming up in 10 days about the Alpha 1.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
And Tim is our spotlight, but before we go over to him, I'm gonna just say hello. My name is Robin Clapp. Myself and two others are in charge of running this group. Both are absent today, but Richard and Joe Sunny. Some of you know him as Joe Joomla. And I help out on J-Day USA for the last 2 years, which is a wonderful event that's coming up, like Laura said, in April down in Texas, and hybrid. And I am working on a website right now that needs a business directory. So this topic today that's going to be covered during Laura's presentation is going to be very timely. I am using a lot of custom fields, and I'm using latest News Enhanced, and I'm hoping those two combined with some great stuff Laura's going to teach us is going to give me all the tools I need to make this business directory work well. And let's go right into Tim. You've got 10 minutes if you want. Tell us all about yourself. You can share the screen if you want to.
Okay, and I am going to share the screen.
All right, wonderful.
Greetings from the left coast of Canada. Everybody, it's good to see you this morning. I went to bed at 5:30. So, and it's 8 o'clock here now. So well, a bit after 8. I am going to share my screen, and hopefully I do this properly this time, because when I spoke at J-Day USA, by the way, that means they'll let anybody speak at J-Day USA, so don't be afraid to. I shared the, I wasn't sharing the slide. I was actually sharing the controls for PowerPoint. Anyways, who am I? If you watched Les Mis, that's Jean Valjean, and he has quite a questioning point in his life. Who am I? Well, who am I? I'm Tim Davis, and I married to Susan. We have 3 children who are married and 5 grandchildren. This picture is not the most recent of us all together, but it's from a year ago in the summertime when we were together camping. And so we live in Victoria on Vancouver Island. That's like I said, on the left coast of Canada, and lived here since 1996. My wife actually was born and raised here on the island, but we met in Ontario when we were at college. And it's beautiful out here. One of the things that is going on right now in Canada, well, actually, here's a little area that's my house is actually just by this corner of this gravel pit here, right there, and then we've got water there. But one of the things that's going on in Canada, and you'll recognize these first couple of slides from my J-Day presentation, like I said, is as a country, we are trying to navigate our history with the First Nations here in Canada, especially there was an attempt for the last 7 or 8 generations to try to wipe out their culture and wipe them out, and that was in partnership between the government of Canada and some of the denominations here in Canada that created residential schools and forced the children to attend those, took them from their homes, and now we're sort of in the process of dealing with finding the graves of probably going to be 5,000 or 6,000 school children across Canada. And so one of the things that many of us are doing in Canada is doing a land acknowledgement. So Cybersol Consulting, that's my company, sits on the ancestral lands of the Teecha-Mista and Lekwungen speaking people, the Songhees and Esquimalt nations. And this land that we're on is defined by the 1850 Douglas Treaty with the Teecha-Mista people. The Douglas Treaty, we got all of Vancouver Island for like $24 worth of stuff. So anyways, it's just, I just wanted to mention that this morning, because not only is it just part of what we're trying to sort through and do here in Canada, but there are similar things that have happened around the world. And I think that is good for all of our cultures to move forward in reconciliation and just acknowledging these things so that the effects of them can be wiped out and be healed and erased. Well, that's for at the end. Oh my goodness. Let me just show you another slide here as we're talking about Vancouver Island. If you have Netflix, this is a documentary about Vancouver Island, Island of the Sea Wolves. Now it's very good. You don't see a lot. There's a million people that live on Vancouver Island. And so you don't see many of them in this, but it focuses on a lot of the wildlife and the nature here in Vancouver Island, including these wolves that are kind of unique in that they live off of the ocean. They're not off in the woods killing stuff. They're living off the ocean. And we actually have a wolf that a wolf comes through our community along the coast from time to time. So that I thought would be something really interesting for you to see it. I've watched it and it's pretty good. My Joomla journey started well before Joomla. Back in 96, I was the chairman of the communications committee for our denomination, and I was always looking for internet things to use in ministry for communicating with their churches, and so that's why I started building web pages and playing around with things. And along the way, discovered Joomla and was thrilled to discover Joomla because instead of my Dreamweaver websites being all square, I could actually buy a template and get a site looking nice for it. And I'll go back to sharing this in a sec. Get this the site looking nice, and that was really exciting for me. And my own playing around sort of took off a bit with the large newsletter that I had. Along the way, I think it's about 8 years ago now, might be 9 years ago, I was trying to figure out how to put custom CSS in a rocket theme template, how to customize it. And I was Googling and searching for that. And it took me a couple of hours to figure out how to do it. I knew that I was on the right page. I knew that I was reading the right information, but it just made no sense to me. It was just sort of like the genre of the words that were being used. I knew the answer was there, but it just was not clicking with me. And when I finally figured it out, I thought to myself, oh, you know what? I could make a video and show how to do that in 5 minutes. And in the language that I understood, because I'm not a programmer. The only programming course I took was in grade 9 in basic, and that was just a 1 semester thing. And so I mean, but anyway, so that was how I started my channel. And you know, I know it sounds kind of corny, but one of my passions that is to help people who are stuck and frustrated, not only with their web pages, but with things in life. And one of the things that I learned being a pastor for 28 years was the difference between helping people and trying to help them in what they really needed help with, versus being consumed with feelings about, oh, am I helping someone? Do I feel good for helping someone? And because there's a real subtle difference there. If we try to help people because we're getting something out of it, and we always get something out of it when we help people, but if that's our focus, we very often miss being able to help the other person. And so what I would often find as a pastor, and what I found when I started teaching people how to do Joomla, was that I would be talking and use terms, and then they would just be nodding their head. And I would say to them, so just take that file and FTP it to the server. And they'd go, okay. And I'd stop and I'd look at them and say, do you know what FTP is? And they'd have this look of fright on their face. Sort of, you know, the dream when that you have that you're sitting down at the piano in front of all the thousands of people, and then you realize, I don't know how to play the piano. And then it's like, well, I can just fake it. Then you realize you can't. So they would invariably say, no, I don't. And their head drop. And I would say, well, it doesn't matter. Your value as a human being doesn't depend on knowing these things. And so that's just something that I really have enjoyed and built my business around. And since I went full time back in just 5 years ago in October of 2017, just enjoying helping people and helping them in what they need, not feeling good because I'm helping people, not just blurting out some kind of answer that's not relevant. You know, sometimes we see things like in the Facebook group, someone will say, does anyone know a good template for a bakery? And then someone answers and says, why don't you build one yourself? And it's like, that person does not, that's not, if they knew how to do it, they wouldn't be asking. So anyway, so that yeah, I'm passionate about helping people get unstuck from where they are, and because you know, as we know, a website should be something that you enjoy using and working on, and a lot of people, I like helping people get to that point. So with that in mind, I'd like to just quickly share a new project that I have going on, and I hope that I can do this properly. I think it's this screen here. I just want to make sure. Okay, you can see the sea wolves. Can you see the screen here with the sign up form?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm working on starting is what I'm calling the Joomla training cohort. And what it is I just basically say there's lots of ways to build a Joomla site. CyberSalt's Joomla training cohort is a place to learn to do Joomla the way that we do Joomla. And I sort of have this form here to sign up for a beta version or beta release of it. And so this Joomla training cohort that I'm putting together is really just an opportunity for me to start to organize some of my videos and some things that I have, and have a place to where people can go and just learn whatever it is. If I can teach them that, because I don't know everything, of course, about Joomla, but whatever it is that they need to get them to the next step, then this is a place for them to ask. And some of the things that I'm going to have is it's going to be, there's going to be a free section. I hope to put part of it behind a paywall down the road, but there's really nothing there for people to pay for, so it's going to be wide open. But there's also a spot where I've got a couple of people are allowing me to do case studies of their Joomla site. Some of them, the migrations that are doing, some of the things that they're trying to do. And I'm going to record calls with them and maybe have some just group calls in this. And then I'm going to host them on Vimeo for people to watch afterwards as a resource. And the reason I'm doing Vimeo is because you can prevent Vimeo from being seen publicly. And since it's these people's sites that I have permission to work on and make the videos, I just don't want them out there for everyone. So you'd have to at least register to see it. And so that is something that I'm behind on where I'd like to be on it, but I'm just, it's just working on it. And you guys are all welcome to hop in on that. I know I hear some of you hear anxiety and concern about some of the Joomla 4 migrations that you have to do. And so I would love to help you with that. So speaking of that, and we mentioned about this last month, I was talking about Migrate Me 4, which is an extension from PHP Web Design. It is a really cool site. It is a really cool tool that creates a staging site for your migration. So, I mean, you can make a copy of your Joomla site, and I'm not going to talk a lot about it because if I find this here, and this is partly why I stayed up late, because I have created a video why I use Migrate Me 4 when migrating to Joomla 3, and I left this open because right now, don't watch it until you're done listening to Laura and this is all over, but I'm actually going to make that public because I wanted to not take up the time just showing that. But if it's okay, I'll share that video link with the group afterwards. And I guess the last thing I would say is what Mark DeChevre was referring to was he's going to be on my live stream next week, and he's going to be talking about the Joomla 4 API. Alexandra Elise has been doing a bunch of stuff with that. I know nothing about it. I don't understand it, even after reading the exciting description about what it does. So I invited Mark to come onto the channel, or suggested it, and he's going to be here. So I hope that you'll tune in for that. So I do like helping people with things. Migrate Me 4, I'm actually doing the support for Migrate Me 4 and PHP Web Design's extensions. So if that's something that you try and you get you have questions or whatever, just reach out to me. I'm super happy to help in that way. So I'm almost sure that that's all my time gone. So
well, I
thanks for
appreciate
this
everything you
opportunity.
said, Tim. That was amazing, and what a great resource for any one of us to reach out to him at any time. Is anyone here interested in being the spotlight next month? Now that you've seen that you can just talk about just about anything, think about it. Reach out to me, maybe in the chat or offline, and we're going to go right into our presentation that Laura is presenting today. Laura, do you want to introduce yourself and get started on your speech?
I'm ready to go. And Olivier,
right.
you're part of the presentation, by the way. He doesn't even know it. Okay.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Warning,
Okay, hold on.
warning.
Share my screen. And I can vouch for Tim and his support with Migrate Me 4. It's fantastic and it's a great tool. So I highly recommend it. Okay, let me just get myself situated here. Let me open up the chat window so I have it in case anyone has questions. And let me go into pretty mode just for a little bit, and then I'll probably exit out. Okay, so hi, everybody. My name is Laura Gordon, and today we're going to talk about Latest News Enhance, a product from Simplify Your Web. We're going to get creative on displaying content on your website, and let's go. So the agenda, I'm going to go over an intro of who's who. Then I'll go over some content display options and different ways you can do things with filtering. And then another way you could use Latest News Enhanced, where you can actually make your articles into events, which I think is a really powerful concept. And then lastly, easy to edit. My feeling with websites is my end users should not have to know Joomla. So if I built the site correctly with the right content, they should be able to edit from the front end. I should not have to teach them the back end of Joomla if I do it correctly. So intro, so who am I? So this picture was taken of me. I think, Tim, weren't you there? And I know Mark was there when we were in Spain, which was amazing. And that was in January of 2020. I've been building Joomla websites since 2005. I attended my first Joomla New York City user group meeting at the suggestion of Gary Mort. And it was run by Mitch Kirtle, who's one of the founders of Joomla, and that was back in 2005. And I haven't stopped since. Currently, I work at Rutgers, where we manage over 120 Joomla websites. I also do private websites on the side as well. Different groups I'm involved with, Joomla Day USA, jdayusa.com. Visit the site, we'll have more details later on. The Joomla user group team, that's like an actual Joomla group, and the Joomla user group of New Jersey. Olivier. So I had to introduce Olivier because he is the brainchild behind Latest News Enhanced. And through a lot of nudging from people like myself, it's kept getting better and better. So thank you again. He's a French-born freelancer established in New York. He's been creating websites since '97, following web standards and their evolution over the years. He is fully committed in building high-quality must-have extensions for the Joomla community, as well as providing a Joomla-based web presence for his clients. Some groups he's involved in, the Joomla 4.3 release lead that he mentioned, JDay USA, and the Extension Developers User Group, which they are having a meeting today at 12:30. And what makes them different is this is a group that's focused just on people that are building extensions, but you as the web designers are using these extensions. So that may be a user group that you may want to follow because it's about the extensions that make your websites as amazing as they are. So let's jump into the display. We can display content in a couple of different ways using the layout tab in Latest News Enhanced. Now, since I only have 20 minutes, I don't have enough time to go into really a lot of detail. So if you decide that one of these pieces you want me to go into every single setting, let me know, and then I could spend 20 minutes on just that one piece. But here's an example of a Latest News Enhanced layout where I have the image on the right and the left, and it kind of switches off on each side. I have the title that's displayed. I have some content. And then I also have a link, and I'm going to show you how this link thing works, because that I did have to do an override to make that happen. I will be showing you that a little bit later, but that's just an example of just content display. I can have a search at the top, which is nice as well. And another example is here. So this is a little bit more complex. It's more in the gallery type view framework. And basically, this is a bunch of books, right? So here I have the different books. I have the book title. I have the month and year that the book was being read and the type of book that it is. So that's another option in there as well. Another layout that you can do, which is relatively new, is the table layout. Now, this I'm really excited about. So excited that I'm going to actually show you on the actual page itself. So here's the page in action. So this page is using data. Let me just show you an example of one of the data items. So here's a course, right? We have the title of the course. I have a sample syllabus and I have details about the course, okay? So let me go back. Okay, so that wasn't a great course because you couldn't see the track, right? Let me go into this one so we have more details. So here I have more custom fields. So I have what the SAS, which is School of Arts and Sciences, what the core is. And I can have more than one course. So this is a multiple select field. So I can select 21C and I could select NS. Those are two different options. In the track, it's just a text field and the credits is 3. Okay, so simple, simple. If I go back to my page, my listing page, I can see that here. So in this format, which is the tabular view, I can select what columns I want to show. I can decide if I want the columns to be sortable or not. Okay, so that's in the tabular view, which is really nice. Also, it stacks automatically. So if I'm in a cell phone type view, it makes it look so beautiful. Anyway, without any work at all, right? So that's out of the box. Now you may ask, what's this stuff going on up here? So this is the filtering that I mentioned. So I can now have filtering in latest news enhanced either and or on the category, the tag, and custom fields. That is huge, huge, huge. And I'm like, Olivier, thank you, thank you, thank you. So what that means is if you have a list type custom field, I can go here and I can select, give me all the ones that are in 21C, or give me all the ones that are HST type classes, and I can see them, which is amazing. I can also select based on the track, which can also be a multiple select as well, if I want, depending on how I have it set up. And I'm going to just go to all here. In the other setup, let me just show you the live version as well. There was the, where did they put it? Oh, we put it here. Okay, so just a quick update. This page is Joomla 3. This is Joomla 4. So the tool itself does work in both tools. It is a different version of latest news enhanced for Joomla 4, but it works the same. So the function is the same. This is the example where it kind of goes on either side. Another nice example of that, I'm going to bring up one more page, this one, because I happen to like the way this looks. It looks a little bit sexier, is this page right here. So this again is using latest news enhanced. And it just now, again, this is a Joomla 3 site, so I know that it's a little bit dated, but this type of look is a really nice look. This is using latest news enhanced. There's no more building tables or anything of that nature. It's all using custom fields. Each of the fields, I can select what class I want the field to display in, so I have control over that. And the read more can link to either the article or to a web page itself. Like if I have a link, a custom field that's a web page, it can link to that as well. All right, let me get back so I don't lose my train of thought. Okay, something else you can do, which is really, really powerful, is you can group the data. So this is an example of author of the year, new author of the year, and unpublished writers workshop. And I'm going to show you, I think I did it here. Let me see. I think we did it on this page. Let me see, because I just thought of a better example. Okay, so basically the category structure of these records, there's a category. You can only group by category. So you can't group by custom fields or tags because there could be duplicate, right? But I can group by categories. So on the back end of this site, which might take me a second, I can show you just so you can see. You know, if you don't understand the data, it's really hard to actually, let me just get in here. This is, as I mentioned, a Joomla 3 website. And let me just give that a second. Okay, so if I go into content, just so you can see the structure of how it works. And by the way, I always show people this page, which is the categories page, because if you don't understand your content, you're in big, big trouble. And as you could tell, this is quite a big website. So if you can see here, if I go to people, there we go. Not this one. There we go. So if I go to people, you can see my different categories. So I have the chair's office. These are the people in chair's office. So you can see it better. I have personnel and finance, graduate office, the different offices, right? And I could see in here how many articles are in each category, just so you understand what the grouping is. So now if I go up to over here, in latest news enhanced and the pagination tab, you can select grouping. So this way they have everyone in chair's office together, everyone in personnel and finance, graduate office, undergraduate office, central, you know, whatever. So I have these groupings, which is important for this specific page. Again, as I mentioned, the groupings has to be by category. So you do have to make sure that, like Leah Price, for example, cannot exist into two different groups. That will not work. And I always talk to the department or whoever I'm building this site for to say, okay, why are we doing the grouping? I'm not a big fan of this type of layout because I think from a usability level, is someone really going to be scrolling down? Probably not. but this is what they were used to, so I didn't want to fight it. But you can also add to the top a drop down, which I think is more user friendly, and I could select Writer's House, and then I'll get the people in Writer's House. To me, this tabbing works better, but you don't have to pick one or the other. You can do both, and that's what I did here in this example. Okay, let me just see what else. Another example of the filtering. So let me bring up this page here. I did it on this one. Okay, so if I go to this, we're okay on time, right? Okay. So here, this is a website. It's called the Go On Girl Book Club, and they've been around since 1993, and it's an African-American book club with all of the books and publishers are African-American. These women that read the books create their own chapters. So right now, I don't remember if there's 50 chapters all over the country. Each chapter has 10 to 12 members. And they meet once a month and talk about certain books. So the central organization selects what books they're going to read each year. So if anyone's interested in finding books for your own book club, this is a great resource because you can actually go through here and see what books they've read every single year. Or you can select what genre you want to select from. So from a data, this is like a little off topic. If you're looking for a good book to read, this is a really great resource. And these women have given me lots of great books to read as I've been working with them. But basically, if I want to see what classic books there are, I can click on that. And then I get all the books that are in classic in that genre. And that's how this is set up. If I want to see books that were read in a specific year, so I say, oh, I'm curious, what did they read in 2020? I can go there, go to 2020, and I could see the amazing books that they selected there. So again, this is a filtering option. As I mentioned, filtering can be done by category, tag, and or a list custom field, even if the custom field is a multi-select. The custom field is relatively new. So when I built this site, I didn't have the custom field option. So I was using tags at the time. So even our websites are changing based on the amazing advances that Olivier has come up with. Let's see. Okay, before I go into the URL display, because I do want to talk to you about that. Does anyone have any like quick questions? Because I know I'm going kind of quick here.
I have a question real quick. How do you put that drop down? How do you populate it on the page?
You got it. So if I go to, let me go to English because I already have that open. I can show you. So in Latest News Enhanced, you can create either a module or a menu item. So if you do it as a module, you do not have the pagination selections. A module is, I only use the Latest News Enhanced module if I'm putting it and embedding it within a page. And I typically, my rule of thumb is I would only use it if it's like maybe 10 items. I would use it on a home page or something like that. I wouldn't use it for the majority of my content. The paid version of Latest News Enhanced, he has a menu item, and that's really what you want to be using, especially if you want to do more with the information. You want to create them as menu items. So if I go to that admin, I think it was this, let's see. So here's the administration and staff, and I'm not 100% positive which version of Latest News Enhanced I have on this specific site, but that's okay. So if I go to pagination, I scroll down. So remember, this is the one that's grouped by categories. So you can do top and I can group it by category. Okay. The next piece is the headings. No, not the headings. Where is it? Where's my drop down? Top indexing. Oh, I'm sorry. I did it backwards. Olivier, I did it wrong. And I know he's like, Laura, no. So
that's okay.
The indexing at the top, that's where your drop downs are. So the indexing, you can do categories. I can add multiple indexing. So if there are any fields that is a drop down, I could use that, or I could use tags. So this is where it's in the indexing part, Robin. So in the indexing, the grouping is done by the headings. So I almost flipped that up. So the headings is where you define how you want to group the page. So I can group it by category, or I can group it by a date field. So if your data is date dependent, I can have it organized by month, by year, or something like that. Okay, so headings is the grouping and the indexing is the filters, and that's it. It's that simple. You just add whatever you want to add. You could change the label as well. And if you want to change any of the stylings of the settings, he has given us in theming, which is really beautiful, a CSS override layer. So basically I can change, if I want to change the way any of the headings look or any different elements and I can't find the spot, I can just hard code it right in here and it will affect it for this page. So that makes it a lot easier too. Did I answer that question, Robin?
Perfect, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Anything else you guys want me to show you back end? Because I know I'm showing you a lot of stuff here. Hopefully it's just enough to kind of get you interested and then we can dive more into deep later. Okay, so this now gets a little tricky. The content display, the URL. This was an issue that I was having. So let's say your website, on every article, you want, on the click of the article, you want it to go to a web page. No problem. So on the back end, and I think, yeah, I could go to this one. I could go to this one. So what determines the link? Okay, the major link on the pages for latest news enhanced, I'm going to show you, is in the layout tab. And if I scroll down to remaining items and I go to linking. So linking is for all items. So you decide, I want to link the title, the head. If you want to read more, you can select that. All right. That means when you click on the item, okay, I can link to the article or I can go directly to any URL custom field for those items. So for example, I'm not going to do it here, but if on the click of it, I wanted to go to a specific website, I can do that. Great. I just go to, I select website instead of article. So then it won't open up the article, it'll go to a website. So far, so good, right? But here's the problem. And let me show you the problem that I ran into that I had to come up with a solution for. So this is a page on a library website of databases, right? So this is classifieds, like what Robin's doing, right? So they have all these databases. They call them databases. It's a library. So normally you'd say, okay, great. I click on it and it should take me to an external link. Okay, so I'm going to click on 211 Long Island and it takes me to their site. No problem. That's great, right? But here's where I ran into an issue. They wanted to also add links for tutorials. And they also wanted to add links that if you're in the library to use a different link versus if you're outside of the library, because if you're in the library, you're on a different IP address and they want you to go to a different link. So basically for one article, they wanted like 4 different links. Well, I can't have this link change its mind. Now, when I use this site in Mozette's tree, I actually did hard code an if-then structure that if they were inside the library, use link X. If they're outside of the library, use link Y. I was never happy with that because first of all, I never really trusted it. So I really, really, really wanted to be able to show different links so the user could decide what it is they're going to do. Okay, and this is where I was running into an issue. So this link is fine, that we can understand, is how do these links work? By default, if you select a link in latest news in enhanced, a URL, it shows the long URL, which is really ugly, right? You don't want to show HTTPS:// blah, 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 blah. That doesn't really work. You could have a label to the left to show what you want them to do. But again, showing a long URL on a page like this is really not advantageous for accessibility or anything of that matter. So I worked with Olivier to figure out a way to create an override. So on this site, we have an override for the links. So let me show you what's in common about these links. First of all, notice how the beginning of the link says Ancestry Library. Well, where does it get that from? The title of the article. Okay, so I'm using the title somewhere, and I'm going to show you the code in a second, but I want to show you how I made it work. And then here it says video tutorial link, click here for access. Where's it getting that text from? What I did was the field itself, the label of that field is this text. Click here for access in the library. So that's the field itself. So what I wanted to do was create an override that would be smart enough to combine those things together and then use the URL link for that field. That's what I wanted it to do. It's only one line of code, which is beautiful, right? So let me show you that code. And we actually also did it on this site too, so I could show you. But let me bring it up here. And I sent a copy of this PDF to Robin so she could send it out to all the attendees of the meeting. But let me just zoom in a little bit. Hold on. Let me go here so you can see it a little bit better. Okay. So here's what I had to do. And the line, it may be slightly different. This is on the Joomla 4 version of the site. So in Joomla 3, it's slightly different code than on Joomla 4. This is Joomla 4. So on Joomla 4, the line that I put in, and you could see I put my code here, LG. So on March 1 of 2022, LG, define URL label to combine the label and the article title. So basically Olivier's deal was already doing the link properly, right? He knew the link, so that was fine. It was the label that was being displayed that was ugly, the actual label. So what I did here was I changed the URL label instead of what he had. So he was going to have the label just do whatever the field data was, which is the link, which is the long link, right? We don't want it to show the long link. That's ugly. So what I did was I changed the URL label to equal the title, concatenate it with a dash, and concatenate it with the field label. That's it. Simple, simple, out of the box, although it did break my brain and I did have to work with Olivier on the syntax. So thank you again. But it works, and it works really, really well. So again, all I had to change was what he was using for the URL label. And I did have to create an override to do that inside of my template. And I gave the actual file name here. And we may need to have a separate session on how to create overrides. So again, I may be like teasing everybody in a lot of stuff here. So Robin, because I want to make sure I'm, with time and all that. Let me ask you, do you want me to show you how I built that? Should I slow down? Where are we with time? What, because I know this could get really intense.
Yeah, no, we're okay. It's interesting that you brought this up because I went over the same exact thing last week, and I used advanced custom fields for the same reason. I like to have the URL, be able to put in what text, and then the URL. Except I had to port that into latest news enhanced. So
that's correct.
Olivier did it for me. And he did the same thing. So he had mentioned that there are some advanced custom fields that Teso offers that he would like to have fully integrated into latest news enhanced. And that would be one of them, right?
It would absolutely be one of them. So what I did is I created an override for the URL field. So I did not have to use Teso's advanced custom field. So, and I did that at Rutgers as well. So basically, we created an override, which I did a class on that a couple of years ago to do that exact thing. And basically, but before I go into that override, but Robin, so just so the group knows, I had to create an override for the field itself, which we did on all of our templates. But let me show you what the override looks like. So if I go into the HTML layouts, latest news enhanced pro, details, here's the file. That's it. And basically, here's my code, which is what I showed you. So here it is, right here. That's it.
Nice. So that's not the same thing as like a custom field in the back end where you put in the text, you put in the URL. It grabs it you're saying, and
This
it
is
knows.
grabbing it. That's correct. Now, I also created, so guys, there's two things going on here. One is the display of the URL field in latest news enhanced. That's what I'm talking about here. What Robin is talking about is a different one, which is what if on your website, you don't want the field displayed? So for example, I think, I'm not sure if this is going to be a good example. I don't think we did. Steve, did we do links here? No, this one I think I did. I'm not positive if I have a good example, if I have a link. Sample syllabus. This is, I'm pretty sure this is a custom field to a URL. And so what we did for all of our URL fields is we created a custom field in our template. So for all of our templates, we use that. And what we do is we actually use the description. So if there's a description, we use the description as the text instead of displaying the long URL. So the description of the field grabs the, is the text. So we actually did that. So if the description is blank, then we're going to just use whatever the value substring is. If it's not, then the link display is going to be the description. So in our custom fields, we use the description.
Very nice.
Okay. And the custom field that I was talking about there, and that could be a whole other session in itself. Maybe we could get Tassos to actually come in to do a session. Yeah, because
is he showing up at 12:30? Does he go to yours, Olivier?
Maybe, I'm not sure.
All right, well, you'll have to tell him he's been requested over here.
Basically, with the custom field, without using Tassos, the advanced custom fields, which I do love his tool and I do use it for a lot of things, is basically, I mentioned the description. So click for personal website. So if I'll use the description instead of using the long URL. So that's what we did to kind of jump over that.
That's so important. I think I try to use core as much as possible whenever we can, but there are just a few extensions that just are amazing.
Yeah, and I'd love to do a session on that. Now, I want to keep going because I want to show I have two more quick things. So let me keep going quick. So event display. Because of one of the things that Olivier added for the custom fields for filtering, selecting, grouping, and sequencing is the custom date field. So what I can do now is I can make my Joomla articles into almost like a set of events. So for example, here we do it on there. I do it in a lot of places. So in the module for where is it? Upcoming adult events, upcoming movies. These are all using latest news enhanced based on a custom field of a date. So I can select based off of the date. Another example is the menu items. When I go to the teen, not the teen calendar, that takes me to another site, sorry. When I go to teen events, why they have it in two different places? Well, I know why. Originally, all of their teen and adult events, those are all stored on a separate website. So I was going to display it in a feed on the homepage. But movies, since they only have a couple of movies, they were going to display it in a pretty way. Well, when the family center, the teen department and the children's department saw how pretty the movies looked, they wanted theirs to look the same. So basically, their featured events are now in Joomla articles, even if they still manage everything in the calendar off-site. And I told them, I said, guys, why are we putting it here? It's already in your calendar, and they're like, well, the children's department liked the way we showed the movies. So that's why they have two links, children's calendar and children's events. It makes no sense to me, but what can you do? So anyway, this is also using latest news enhanced. I can show the date and time, and it is filtering off of this. And if I show you the back end really quick, just so you could see where the filtering happens. Hold on a second. Let me just. Okay, so if I look at the module, because the module and the menu item in this case are similar. So if I look upcoming adult events, so the module is going to show the events, and let me show you the item selection. And I can do it, here it is. So I can select the happenings date. Now, originally, before Olivier added the dates, I had to do a Joomla core field like the create date. So I actually was updating data and we were changing the create date to be the date of the event because I didn't have a field to use. But then Olivier added custom fields for it. So I was so excited. So basically I could create a date, the happening state. If there's no date, hide it, and then apply range, relative dates. So it's going to be from number of days. So from 0, which is today, and it goes to 6 months out. Now I could do -1 if I want to show what yesterday's event was. So this is the range. I mean, it's beautiful. You can do a range, which is so, so powerful. The other thing that you can do, and it's in here as well, is the sorting. So the ordering, I can order by the custom field date ascending order. Olivier, question. How does it know which date I'm basing the order off of? How do I forgot that.
It takes the date that's selected in the date field.
Yeah, but
So,
what if I have 2 date fields?
well, he knows the one you have selected in the if you go up, the one date you showed us is the one that's used.
But what if I'm not doing a filtering on the date?
Well, then it's not going to work.
Okay. So you have to select the date and the filter. See, now every time I do this for Olivier, I'm adding more functionality anyway. So you have to select a date and the filter, and then you can order by that date. So you can order by it, which is really, really powerful. You can also do a group by, but as I mentioned before, the group by is only at the menu level. So this is a module level example. And I show you the example right here, module page, item selection, dates, can select relative dates for the selection using the date type custom field. So that's the thing with the dates. And before I close, I want to show one more thing and then we could do more questions. Easy to edit content. So as I mentioned, what I've been trying to do with my sites, I think it's so, so important, is my clients should love editing their content. They should not be paying me to edit their content. Now, if they have to, then fine. But if they're afraid of the site and they don't feel comfortable, they're not going to edit the content. So it's our job to make it in a way so they can edit it easily. So Olivier has added in the layout tab, there's an option to turn on edit. And what that means is if you log in and you have the capability of editing, a little pencil will show up on the page. Done. So you can just tell them, go to the page, click the pencil, and you're set. You're set to go, which is great. The other option, which you can do as well, is, and I just set this up on this page, which I don't think is going to work right now because I don't think I own any of the records. And I don't own the records, so it's not going to work. But I created, so for English, every faculty member can edit their own profile, but it's only going to work if you own a profile record, right? So if I click on manage profile, I'm not going to have anybody because I'm not a faculty member in the English department. But anyone that is, if they're the author, so what we've done is we've changed the author to be whoever that person is, it will automatically show up in this table. And to do that, and I put that in here, is you change the item selection tab. You set the author equal to auto, and it will only display the content that that person owns. So you could do that for maybe news items and you only want them to edit their stuff. I create a menu item called manage my content. And the other thing I want to show you that you may notice is look at this right side. So on all of our websites, I really try, even at Rutgers, to create pages that are what I call management pages. So again, they don't have to log into the back end. So this is an example of a table view and I can edit. So I tell them just go to manage and then they can edit. The only thing this doesn't have which is okay, is an add new. So normally my manage pages are, I do an article list, because the advantage of doing an article list as your manage page is at the bottom, it says new. So that way, if your customer needs to create a new person, they can. Now, Joomla 4, you don't necessarily need that, because you can do save as copy on the front end. So I know I'm a geek, but it's exciting. So basically, I can have these pages on my front end in Joomla 4, and I could tell them just click on edit, and then at the bottom hit save as copy. And now I have a new record. So again, I'm giving ways for my customer to edit the data themselves, so I can manage their sites forever without any work. No, but these user menus I think are really important. And I only have them for registered users. So it's not, you know, it's only if they log in. I've been really working hard to do that. So quick summary, because I know it's 12:10, I'm conscious of the time, is went over who we are, the content display, different ways of displaying the content. You'll get a copy of this PDF. The event display, which means you can filter on the custom fields of the event, and then easy to edit your content from the front end. Voila, that's latest news in hands. And I thank you to the master, Olivier, because you're amazing. And questions?
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. It makes me blush.
Thank you.
But does anyone have any questions or thoughts? What we could go deeper on or anything?
This was pretty amazing. I know I've been, ever since Olivier did his presentation that introduced it a couple months back, I've been using it to display content in all my pages. Like before I didn't know it exists, and now I use it for everything. One of the things I learned last week was adding additional pieces of information in each record, which was on the information tab. I didn't know there was an information tab, and you can grab all your fields from there instead of just your title and just your introduction
and
just
wait,
your image.
There's
So
another
information
thing.
field, the information tab, I was like, oh, this is how it's done. So you can add information before, after. It's like
you could decide where you add it. And this is huge. And this Olivier added, I think, about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. You can put a class to it, which is so powerful, because that means if you have specific classes, you can just assign a class, a Bootstrap class using Bootstrap. So you can put a class here for how it's going to display. But another thing you can do, Robin, is in the layout itself, is you can change what field is used. Is that right? Is this?
Yeah, so I
level?
knew you could do like an image or a video to start, and then the title, and then you could choose which text, but I thought that's where it ended. So I was like, how do I get all these other fields? And he's like, you use the information tab. So that's what I needed when I was building
I have a question, Olivier. Unless maybe I'm using an older version here. Is it in the text or was that only at the menu item level when I changed what content was used in the text introduction?
No, if you had a custom fields, that was an editor field, you would show it in here.
It needs to be an editor field, not a text.
It has to be an editor.
Editor field. Okay, fine. So
Yeah.
I don't have editor fields here. Fine. Okay. Because we did that actually on one of our new Joomla 4 websites for Rutgers, where this content is not showing the intro text, it's showing content of we call it teaser text. And that way, and again, other ways of displaying data is that if they want to show a teaser text, instead of using read more, I do everything in custom fields. The only thing lacking in custom fields is version. So you just got to be careful, because there's no version in custom fields.
It's being in the works.
Okay. Right. Because that's the only scary thing. We have had issues on some of our sites for some reason, this is the new layout for our Rutgers sites. And as you can see, we got custom field, we got latest news enhanced, latest news enhanced. This is J events, latest news enhanced.
But you can, at this point, you can replace Joomla events with latest news and hands.
So
Because you
yes
just
and
taught
no.
us, right? To a
Yes and
degree.
no. If
Yeah.
what we've been following, is if they have more than 5 to 10 events a month, then I prefer them to use J events. Don't use Joomla articles, because if you have more than a handful of events every single month, then you probably want a monthly calendar view. And I think, although latest news and hands can do it, I think J events would be a better tool for that. So when I'm working in, if they have like an events calendar type of thing, and they want to show it in a monthly view, this one,
And if
they're
you-
not even doing it, but you know,
Especially if you want them to register, you need to have an event.
Registration, right? That's
Yeah.
another key.
registration, yeah. Well, no registration, because if you're registering outside of Joomla,
You can
then
just
you can always
bring
have
in
a
a
web link associated with the article. So our basis is it depends how many events you have per month. If you have more than 5 to 10 a month, I'm just using straight J events. If it's less than that, which a lot of our departments, it's just 5 a year or something like that, then we're just using Joomla articles. So that's kind of our,
Wonderful.
yeah.
How many people found this presentation to be useful? Raise a hand. Have any of you used latest news enhance before? Yeah.
I know a lot of people do.
Oh, good, good. How many people are using custom fields? Yeah, and the two of them together make it very powerful, I think. And
Thanks to this group, I found, latest news enhance, and every site I've started now, I've made use of it. It's been great, but it's a monster to figure out.
yeah, the first couple were hard, but now I kind of know where to find things now. But at first I was like reaching out to Olivier, where is that? And he'd send, he has a lot of tutorials. There's a lot of tutorials. There's a tutorial for everything. So going on his site and searching for it, or even going in Google and searching for it, it will come up. So a little bit of digging, but as you get into it more and more, you become a master. I agree.
Yeah. And I'll be adding, I emailed the PDF for the slides to Robin so she can get this out to everybody. Once the video is complete, I'll put it on my own website as well on RITEC sites, not Rutgers, RITECsites.com. Yeah, so it'll be on there as well. And yeah, as you can tell, there's just so much. There's just a lot.
Well, thank you, Laura. This was amazing. And I think everyone agreed.
Thank you. I mean, Laura is one of the reasons why it's so extensive in my extension, because she had so many use cases that she needed to cover. So it really helped improve the extension.
And to reiterate what Laura said earlier about the extension group meeting that's coming up, it's if Olivier is not building that many websites, he's not really exercising his extensions, and we're really, the group that's building lots of websites. So anytime you have questions and you go back and you feel bad because you're bugging them, but you're actually making their extensions better. So telling them your situation and how can they work it so that it will work for your situation creates it more enhancements and makes it a better extension, and more users will want to use it. So don't feel bad about asking.
I did add the link to the Joomla extensions user group. So the people in here may be interested in joining it, because this is where the extension developers are talking, and we're the users of them. So that may really help to just further that communication between both groups. I think it's important to have separate groups, but it's good for them to mix together too. So yeah, to let them know. And I highly encourage, if there's extensions that you're using, if you're using a free one and you're using it to the hilt, pay for the subscription and work with the developer. It is amazing how inexpensive these extensions are. If you look at the big picture, especially if you can install it on multiple sites, 99% of the extensions, you're talking $50, $60 for the year to put it on as many sites. If you think about that, that's not even an hour's worth of coding work, if you were paying by the hour. So if you can purchase the extensions and, and support them. So
All right, back on the agenda. Anyone want to be spotlight next month? Let's pick a date because it's what, the third Thursday. So let's just pick the date. Would be the 15th of December. And is anybody available, planning on coming, that would like to tell us a little bit about themselves? Don't make me choose you. Anne, have you gone yet?
I would like to pass, please.
Okay.
She's afraid.
Ellen, from Connecticut. You're just,
I'd rather not.
okay. All right. I'm just gonna keep going. Anna, would you like to tell us about your graphic design business next month?
That could be anything about you.
Anything about
just
anything.
Introducing yourself. It's just a longer introduction. That's it. It doesn't have to
Don't make
be
me.
a formal presentation. It literally, and if you only want 5 minutes to do it, you could do it in 5 minutes. You don't need to fill 10 minutes. It's just a little bit more something about yourself. That's it.
No, it's okay. You can.
I wanna do it one day, but not yet.
Not next time. Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay. I missed who that was who said they would do it.
It was Tim.
Oh, Tim, all right. Tim will never stop talking. Yes, of course he will. All right, we won't worry about that. I'll reach out separately and see if we can't convince someone. And presentations for next month. I don't know if I have any. I did have someone attend last month briefly from Greece. What was her name?
Crystal?
Yeah, she wanted to do one. And so I'll reach back out to her. I know we're interested in doing, is it Yo theme? You theme?
Yes.
Yes, we want to try to get
Some people are
them
interested
in
out
here
there, I
as
think.
well. Any other suggestions of things
What
you
about
want to learn more about?
Tassos? What
Oh
about
yeah, we want to see about
Tassos?
Tasso's custom fields
If
or
you can
any
reach
number of things
out-
that he does. I'm a
reach out
huge
to him.
convert forms person. I love his tools. Okay, so there's 3 ideas. I'll reach out in the interim from now till December. Any other closing remarks or any questions you may have or anything you'd like to say before we cut out, because the next meeting is going to be happening. If anyone wants to jump over to Olivier's meeting, we'll be right on time.
I put the link is in the chat at the beginning if you look for it.
Will you be creating a video of your meeting as well?
Yeah, I think Laura, we can record, right? I mean, we have the option of recording in our account.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it'd be recorded.
Beautiful. Well, so nice to see everyone today. Thank you, Tim, for your spotlight. Thank you, Laura, for your presentation.
I have a question, maybe somebody in the group knows. Weird thing happened. I have a client who's being hosted on Media Temple, and they were on the grid server, and they just migrated to cPanel. And I'm getting a email about a Joomla update, that's sent out normally. I'm not sure where it comes from. I haven't been able to find it on the site, and the URL it's referring to isn't the name of the website. Let me find it.
Are you, as a user, as a super administrator, you checked off to receive website emails?
Yeah, but the website it's referring to
It's on
is
the old server.
https:// this subdomain should only resolve if wildcard.brewstervillagenewyork.gov.
Oh my goodness.
So it's
that doesn't look right.
now the site is for brewstervillagenewyork.gov, but all that part in before it, I don't know where that's being generated from. And I don't even know who to ask. And I had another issue with them. The site wasn't showing up at first. And they just kept saying to me, well, we don't know anything about Joomla. We don't know anything about
No,
Joomla.
it's not gonna do
And
it.
all it really ended up being was the open_base dir
Yeah.
that was in the PHP any file had some erroneous thing in it. I just had to comment that out. But they didn't know anything about it. So it was very frustrating. But anyone know where that might be coming from and how I could stop it?
Is it coming pretty regularly?
Yeah, like every
Yeah,
day.
so I'm wondering if you turned off getting emails, if that has any effect.
I think I will try that
Just
to
to
see
see.
if it's coming from the actual live
Tells you more
site.
information, yeah.
And if it doesn't stop, then I
And
don't.
that's
I guess
something
it's
else you know.
coming something there. Yeah.
Yeah,
weird.
if it keeps coming, try logging into that really weird URL /administrator. Have you tried that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And
Does it
and can you
exist?
doesn't exist?
No.
Oh.
So there may be
That's-
also an
Maybe you
old
didn't
test
delete
site.
something.
Yeah, it sounds to me like an old test site. I've had this happen actually with WordPress sites before that were moved by the host. And I was on like the security software and it kept pinging me even though I'd taken myself off. And it turns out they hadn't configured a new user to receive those notifications. So I was still getting them. But I would I would talk to them and ask if they had a test environment set up because it sounds like something went wrong in that hosting move process.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that Joomla update is a plugin, isn't it? The notification.
Mhm.
I think it's a plugin that you can turn
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
Turn
I
off.
can turn it off. Yeah.
But you have to
All right,
find
I'm
where
gonna
to turn
try
it
that.
off. Yeah.
And if worst
Okay.
comes to worst, just set up a mail filter to delete those automatically. You'll never see them.
There's
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah,
I do
but
that too.
you'd want to find out why.
Source of the
what
problem.
The problem
Yeah.
and
Right.
solve the problem, yeah.
Definitely.
Mm.
Great
So I
question.
guess I gotta go.
Hey,
Thank you,
Olivier,
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
It looks like
Bye-bye.
Laura jumped off too. Excellent. If anyone ever has any questions and wants to put them on the Facebook page, I see that in between meetings, people are utilizing that, and that's wonderful. We've gotten some really good feedback. I know Mark had reached out to me about possibly shifting his business, and I told him to utilize the group and also the Facebook page. So if anyone, especially now, Anne's in New York, maybe you should talk to her. There's a couple people that said they were in New York. Mark, you might want to follow up with them afterwards. Ed, you came into the meeting late. Wanted to say thank you for showing up. And
yeah, sorry, I got pulled away on another call.
okay, no worries. This time I did make sure that the alarm sounded when someone tried to get in, because I know in past meetings someone came in late and I never heard it because I wasn't looking up. So I made sure I put the sound on so that we would hear that. So I wouldn't leave anyone out for being
Appreciate
a little
that.
off on the time.
You might want to, I think Ellen has already left, but I've experienced when I've moved from a particular server to another server, particularly going from a non-C panel to a C panel.
Yeah.
You may want to check some embedded codes that server people like to put onto your links into your tree. I know HostGator does that a lot. When you move off their site, all of a sudden you'll find some foreign files or file, and it's always linking back or focusing back to them.
Interesting.
Yeah. HostGator has been really aggressive on that because they want people to come back and they don't want to lose you.
I have an interesting question. If anyone's
It is part of their terms of agreement. They have the ability to embed code.
that brings up a good question of other things we might be interested in learning more about. I know I spend a lot of time working with the folks who do the SEO on my websites, and Ed a weird thing happen where a page wasn't indexed and it wasn't a page on our site, but Google Console wanted me to, it was a 404 error, obviously, because it's not, but it had stuff at the end of the URL and it was coming from MSN or whatever. And we concluded that it's spammy and we don't want it indexed and we're just going to ignore that. But the topic of SEO might be a good presentation for this group. I mean, a lot of us, we design these great websites and then our clients want them to be found, and it's usually a partnership. We work with someone else, but a little bit goes a long way in knowledge. And if there's any other types of presentations you might be interested in seeing, we can line some of those up. Anna?
I have one, and that's might be you actually, because ADA compliance and accessibility.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I haven't done that one in a while, but yeah, I have a I have one website this year that someone's actually paying me to make accessible. But for the most part, I just do accessibility friendly, and then it hasn't really taken off the way that I thought it would. But I still try to do it.
But about also, if you have to be certified, do you have to be certified? Because I feel so insecure. I don't have the knowledge, I don't have an education, a specific education for it and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do accessibility on the calendar too. And I could always fall into that if we can't get a speaker, right? If we can't get a speaker for a month, I could always jump in and do that one. Anything else? No. All right, great meeting, right on time, 12:30. I'll see you all on the 15th, and don't be surprised if I reach out to you to be a spotlight. All right, have a
Thanks,
great day,
everyone. Have a
everyone.
great
Thank you very
day.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, Tim.
Bye, Tim.
Bye.